Alright, Catus Maximus here. Was going to try to do 5 wrenches that you need to live a long and prosperous life. Couldn't do it in 5, so this is 10 wrenches to live a long and prosperous life. As far as initial 5, regular old box wrenches are going to allow you to do just the highest variety of jobs. That's just all there is to it. Just regular old combination wrenches. Probably the very second one would be in a regular old adjustable wrench. I do have one of the 10, these special Nipex wrench pliers, which are very good, but they're not great in all situations, particularly when you have tighter situations where you can't grip or deal with the handles. So regular old adjustable wrench is really going to get it done. These things are just a staple. They offer the distinct advantage of being able to grab a hold of flat things. Specialized screwdriver handles, maybe pieces of sheet metal, all sorts of stuff to be able to twist and turn on things. Really an absolute must-have. Third would be a pipe wrench. These things, this is a small version. All these wrenches come in a variety of sizes, as well as there's quite a few other types besides these. But once again, the top 10 can't beat a pipe wrench. They're great for so many situations. Grabbing a hold of, they're great for stripped and worn fasteners or rusty fasteners if you can get them in there. But as far as working on pipes, they're great, and the nature of them, they flex, so when you put more pressure on them, this jaw rises up and really gets a good bite. Really just cannot deny a good old pipe wrench. Moving on from those 3 types of wrenches, ratcheting box wrench. Now, there are, of course, flexible ones like this. This happens to be a special long handles, offset, reversible type. But having ratcheting box wrenches, I recommend actually picking up some straight ones, probably before even flexible wrenches. One thing I've learned about flexible tools, ratchets, wrenches, etc., is for as many situations as they are convenient, being able to reach any arbitrary angle, even being able to flex dynamically as you're using the tool to make it around an obstruction, they can be difficult too. There are many times in which you don't want them to flex, or you're spending a lot of time trying to keep the wrench from flexing or keeping it in control. So I do recommend regular old ratcheting flex wrenches, reversible so you don't black hole yourself. There are straight handle style of ratcheting wrenches, but they're not reversible. They tend to be stronger. What black holing means that if you have a fastener where there's another surface behind it, then you can ratchet it out and end up locking the ratchet and the bolt head in a space that you can't remove it from, and can be a nightmare. So that's why I recommend reversible ones, so you can reverse it in certain situations. But you do need regular wrenches. The big problem with ratcheting wrenches, they're not as strong as regular wrenches, and of course both of these are 1/2-inch wrenches. The regular wrenches are just much smaller, much more compact. These do have there's a variety of situations where the fasteners are in tight spaces, and this thickness just doesn't work. Of course, there are thin wrenches. Most people will be familiar with, say, bicycle cone wrenches, but these are just handy. There's surprisingly quite a few situations where just a regular thickness of a wrench jaw, such as this, particularly something like a crescent wrench, where thin wrenches can be really handy. Here we are with the 6th wrench. That would be stubby. 7th wrench, I mean, but having stubby wrenches, and they of course make these in both flexible and ratcheting, etc., because there's many times where this is the only tool that'll actually fit in the space. Of course, we have what is known as flare nut wrenches. These are these special odd wrenches, and they are, as it appears, a wrench that instead of is grabbing on 2 sides of the fastener, it's grabbing on all sides. And it has this little slot so you can reach it around the pipe, tube, or anything like that, be able to get it on the fastener and be able to break it while providing extra support. These things are invaluable if you're working with any type of fittings, whether it's, you're working on a dishwasher, or replacing a sink faucet, to all sorts of industrial, hydraulics, automotive, brake lines, etc. These are the types of wrenches you need, because those fittings, even if you have a real tight fitting wrench like this, or even a wrench like these, which as you put more force on them get tighter, since they're only pressing on 2 sides, they'll end up squishing and crushing the hollow fitting, and you're only gripping on 2 sides of the fastener versus something like this, which is still gripping on 5 sides of the fastener. Offset wrenches are the same deal. These things just happen to fit, are very handy, and I recommend ones with steep offsets like this. This happens to be known as a 75-degree offset. Many of them are like 60-degree or even 50-degree, which means the leg sticks out more, and I find that the ones that have the steeper leg are much more advantageous because these can reach around so many objects and just get into spaces that, surprisingly enough, none of these other wrenches will even get close to doing what a wrench like this does. That's kind of the deal with these special flex ends, is they're trying to give you a little bit of an offset. And of course, I do recommend the Knipex wrench pliers, just because of they are actually, one, they're pretty well made, but they provide a huge advantage of the fact that they're like adjustable pliers, except for, I should say not adjustable pliers, they're like an adjustable wrench, except for you can also use them for general pliers duty. The jaws move in parallel, so they really grip pretty well. And when you're turning something, you just keep in mind that you just turn it, if you want to screw something in, you'd have it this way, and you'd flip it around if you want to unscrew something. You want to put the pressure on what is known as the moving handle. But you do something like that, and the harder you press on this, the tighter the jaws get. And they really are a pretty cool invention, as far as they're probably the most fundamental invention in wrenches since the crescent wrench. They are more bulky for a given jaw size. Many times it is less convenient having to deal with pliers when you're trying to grab a hold of a fastener, turn it, pull it off, open them up, put them on the fastener again, which means that they don't actually replace a good old adjustable end wrench. But they are pretty universal. The jaws happen to be mid-thickness for a wrench with a handle this size. This happens to be in between what would be considered a thin wrench and a standard thickness wrench. Anyway, that's my video of 10 wrenches that you need to live a long and prosperous life. If I were a Vulcan, these would be the first 10 wrenches I'd recommend. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Till next time, Catus Maximus out.